Hello and welcome to another episode of the Underhive Lorekeepers podcast. This episode proudly sponsored by the Adelan Corporation. Adelan, the number one in domestic vehicles and ad hoc military equipment. Adelan, a company that cares. As always, I am Spamiel, and to my right, the meticulously misappropriated manvid himself, Nathan. How are you, buddy?
I'm very well. I do like our new sponsorship actually, from Atalan. That means I'm definitely getting my dirt cycle. Definitely.
I, I was trying to come up with that earlier, and for people who don't know, we are referencing Adelan as in the like the Adelan Wolf Quad and the Ridge Runner and that sort of stuff, and we've decided on a Patreon episode that they are basically just this company that effectively builds like those technicals, like the Hiluxes that get like an M50 like
Big gun.
machine gun mounted, or like an
Yep.
anti-aircraft gun mounted on the back of them. Because in my mind, Adelaide is effectively just the Hilux of the future.
They are a corporation. They're not a planet. And anybody who wants to send us information to prove that they're a planet, we are going to ignore that
Oh,
because Atalan is a rogue trader family
Yep.
turned giant multinational, multi-system,
Planetary.
multi-planetary corporation.
It's
Yes.
Toyota. It's just Toyota.
Surprisingly, though, they still have Pizza Fridays. Like, amazingly. I don't know how they get away with it.
How are you, dude?
I'm very well, mate. I'm very well. Burning the midnight oil leading into Arcramunda
Yes.
and all things Arcramunda-ish. And realizing, I think we do it every year, and it's become sort of like a tradition. It's our tradition we put onto tournaments and competitions, and especially Arcramunda. It is the dawning of knowledge, where you go, oh, I know nothing. I know nothing about my gang. Not because I'm a fool, but just because I concentrate on the law and not the rules.
I genuinely at times forget there are rules. I'm just like, no, I go and I roll dice, and occasionally my opponent smiles or unsmiles, and then one of us wins. Like yeah.
Yeah,
I have no idea how to play squats. I know nothing about playing squats.
It's really easy. You just keep your back straight, bend at the knees.
Bend at the knees, nice.
Yeah, that's exactly how you play them. No, I think by game 6 or 7, however many we get, I'm pretty sure it's 7 games, isn't it?
It's 8 games. 8 games. This
8
year.
games.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Because it's the 3 games each day, and then there's like the
The little
scenario,
raid game.
little mini
Yeah,
ones.
yeah. So I still stick by it. By game 8, no, by game 6 or 7, I'll be the wily, cagey opponent that everybody thinks I'm going to be, and they'll be like, "Whoa, this guy knows what he's up to." First 5 games, you'll be telling me which feet to put my shoes on because I will not know.
I'm calling it now. By game 4, I would have literally had every single member of my gang proper killed, and we'll have restarted at the 1200 cred mark and just be like, this is gang 2.0.
Yeah. Well, I'm finding with the Delacroix is that there is this, I don't know, it's sort of like an unwritten rule and a sort of a bit of a, I guess, standard for the gaming community is that you're a sneaky sneak if you play Delac. You are a cagey and you're wily and all these other things. Whereas when I played Escher and Van Saar, it's kind of like line them up, shoot them down. Thank you very much. And then occasionally I'll have a little sneak. Whereas this whole gang is sneaky sneaks. And that might be a little bit too much for poor Nate to handle, I think. If anybody wants to make me cheat cards, go for your life. I will take them.
And I'm not going to lie, you in the stilettos and the leopard print corset was unsettling.
But hey, it worked though, didn't it? Surprisingly.
It did
Yeah.
work.
With the grey flecked beard, everybody was just like, it's confusing yet beautiful all at the same time.
So how's the gang coming? Because you have less
Uh,
time than me. You're going on a cruise in like a week.
and so's the gang. We'll be
Oh,
going together, and we're going to get a little bit of painting time in on that because I've looked at what I need to do,
okay.
and I've looked at my time frame, and then what's really bothered me, and it sort of snuck up on me a little bit, was I've got this stupid thing that I have to do. It's called work,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's completely scuppered all my plans. So I'm really annoyed about that. And I spoke to the guy who thinks he runs the shop, and he's pretty adamant that I can't just take off time to paint some miniatures. So that's undermined my plans a little bit. But the gang itself, everything's built except for one thing, and I'm having a little bit of analysis paralysis on that, and that's my Pisces Inspector. Mind you, because I don't know. Do you know when you have a dream and you have a vision and it just doesn't come out? Like
Yeah,
my
it was
Pisces,
called my 20s.
yeah, yeah. I hear you. I knew you in your 20s. You knew me in my 20s. Man, yeah. But yeah, I didn't realize the Achillean Alphys, just wait, I've got the name here. Achillean Alopex
The
is as
shark.
big as it is. It's a
Yeah.
giant fish. Like, and then I put it up actually against a Piscean Spectre. I'm like, this thing's not moving anywhere on the battlefield. It's gonna look cool, but this is the like right up there with a professional dummy dumb move by me.
It's like a
So
Subway
yes,
6-inch that you're just putting on a base. And it's been like, he's sneaky. And it's like, no, I can literally see him from every point of the
yeah.
battlefield. It's like, he's sneaky.
Yeah. Do you know when like you get like dogs that aren't like the sharpest tools in the shed and they go hide behind like a single like tiny twig or not a twig but like a plant or tree or something and they just like pop themselves in behind that and then just like, hey, you can't see me. That's how I imagine my Spectre behaving. Because when you compare it to the actual Spectre, oh my god! And a bear, like I mean, putting it on the base, it actually looks a bit ridiculous as well. So I'm actually thinking about having a Piscean Spectre available on the day,
Just in
just
case.
because, just in for my opponent. If they just go, this is dumb, mate, I'll be like, yeah, I know, but that's the Underhive Lorekeeper way.
Yeah.
But your question now: how is your game going? What are they doing?
I have, and I'm very big on trying to pronounce things correctly, so I'm going to try this. Today I started painting, paint, parning. I started parning my miniatures. Yeah, so it is. It's early November here in Melbourne, obviously, and other places of the world, and we have a public holiday on Tuesday the 5th, which is Melbourne Cup Day, because our entire state shuts down for a horse race, and
And
so
rightly so.
and rightly so. So what happens is that's the Tuesday. So on the Monday, the vast majority of people will quickly petition their employers to do basically a company-wide shutdown, so we can get a long weekend. And so I've literally spent the majority of today just doing hobby because my kids were at daycare and my wife took the day off as well, and she sort of hung out at home and. I basically just did hobby, and I was just like, well, hey, I should probably do it now because otherwise I'll get distracted by video games and forget, and just end up taking Van Sar again. And so I started painting my gang today. They were based, and I've started with all of their shading and dry brushing.
Oh, cool.
And
Nice.
yeah, tomorrow, while editing this episode, I will be painting them. And my son has chosen the colours they will be getting painted.
Oh, do I want to know? Are you going to tell us? Or is it going
No,
to be a surprise?
no. One of the colours I said, why don't you pick some colours Daddy can use? And he literally walked up, he just picked up one colour, he just went, this one. I'm like, okay. Do you want to choose some more colours? No.
No.
Like, okay. So yeah, that's a very purple. He has picked a very purple.
Yeah, right. Wow.
And I'm like, all right, my dude, I can make this work. I can make this work. Um,
Wow.
yes, I'm gonna have some purple squats,
Nice. Yeah,
and
that's cool.
yeah,
Looks like little blueberries. That's good.
I won't paint. I'll paint their armor purple. I won't. I'm not painting. They're not like the purple orc snipers. Um,
Yeah, they wouldn't
no,
be that classy.
no, they wouldn't be.
But
That
you
class.
did forget something about our public holiday. Well, it's actually not related to our public holiday, but it's pretty close to. There is a bigger event on in these 4 days.
Yes, yes. Today, 20 years ago, I legally became an adult in most Western nations.
Happy birthday to
Yes.
you. Happy birthday.
So
Happy birthday to you. So are you 38?
I'm 38 today.
You
And
don't look a day over 37, mate.
oh, thank you, friend. My wife took me out for breakfast. So I got to sleep in. She took the kids to daycare, and we went out to breakfast. And for parents, you'll understand this part here. It was the first sort of like meal that the two of us have had by ourselves without kids. We're not cooking it at home, and it was amazing. And we're eating breakfast, and I'm eating some toast, and my wife looks at me and she goes, 20 years ago, you were 18. And I was just like, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And like the way she said it, she was looking at me like, ugh. Like, just, ugh. Yeah, so I've been a legal adult for 20 years. And then she
Yeah,
goes,
right.
you're 2 years away from 40. And I'm like, man, public school really taught you, didn't it?
Oh, she's just top marks. What's the matter with 40?
Oh, mate, she's early 30s, so she thinks it's very funny.
It's miles away. Oh,
yeah,
God.
yeah. Mate, I'm telling you now, it was a few weeks ago I was 18, and
Yeah, tell me
now
about it.
I'm pushing 4 score, and yeah, I feel every day of it. But no, it was a great birthday. I've eaten 2 ice cream cakes.
You had 2
2
ice cream
days.
cakes.
I've had in 2 days. We went out for lunch with my parents and one of my sisters and
Yeah.
her kids, and we had an ice cream cake then. It was a Freddo ice cream cake, the king of ice cream cakes. And then today I ate an entire Freddo ice cream cake.
In front
In
of your
fact,
kids.
There's the plate. There's the plate right there in the back of camera shot.
Good Lord.
Yep.
Oh, my. Yeah, right. Well, respect to you. Well, when you do turn 40, I'll turn up to your 40th. I promise you that.
You're a better man than me.
Yeah. All right. We have an episode.
Yeah, we
No
have an
more days
episode.
of our lives. No more reminiscing about how there was a time when we were young men.
Phil, first off, we have some spam your corrections. And
Oh.
this is actually a collection
bit.
of the last couple of episodes where you've not let me do them.
Wow, that's hurtful. Yep.
Because the vast majority of them... Actually, no. I think this is split evenly. 1, 2,
What?
3. There's 6. There's 3 for you and 3 for me. Yeah, okay. So, the first one is for you and comes from a listener, Lloyd, who has some scathing comments for you in regard, because you're the painting guy,
Oh, okay.
stating that you said that OSL was original source lighting. It is actually object source lighting, which tells us 2 things. One, you're a dummy, Nathan. And 2, I'm an additional dummy because I thought it was other source lighting. So,
Well, is it Lloyd? Is it? Well, that I've done my research on this one, and it's actually quite objective about what it actually is. I haven't done any research. I just want to say that.
so nice.
All right. Right. Next
The
one.
next one is for me and comes from the winner of the Man of Incorrections competition, Nautilus.
Right.
Goes back to the Secundus episode. We were talking about how the black hole weapons. I said they were changing time and how it would flow and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
There, The closer you get to the center of a black hole, it would slow down time.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
I was implying that the closer you got, the faster time would be going. So when the denizens of Secundus would actually be able to experience a lot more time in a shorter period of time in comparison to
Yeah,
the rest
yep.
of Necromunda.
Yep.
And as soon as he said that to me, I was like, yeah, obviously. I've seen like 9 Star Trek / Stargate episodes about that exact premise.
Yeah, I was going to say something, but I didn't want to highlight that, given how much you love Stargate and Star
Yeah.
Trek.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Stargate?
Nah, mate.
The next one is for you. It comes from Grant, who says that in the Malstrain episode, you said Necromunda was a hive, not a planet. So you're
Well, that's, no.
it's like no, shut up,
no.
shut up with your words.
No, I do not accept.
The next one, oh wait, no, crap. The rest of them are for me.
Yes.
Okay.
Beautifully
Alleged
done.
heretic on Instagram reached out in regards to when I gave the size of the dust wall.
Yes.
I said it was basically the size of like North America.
Yep.
That would be the diameter if it was a 2,000 kilometer diameter, not a 2,000 kilometer radius.
Well said, alleged
Yeah.
heretic. And alleged. I agree with it. It's only alleged.
Yeah. Lachlan says that we were talking about how the Gene Stealer cult can't take a pure strain, but the Malstrains can. The Gene Stealer cult can take a pure strain Gene Stealer. It is the highest roll on the Gene Stealer cult house table.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I'll take that as a show correction.
Yeah, but then I've still got more corrections. Actually, this next one could be a show correction because you agreed
Yeah.
with me.
No, this one I didn't actually know, but I
So-
just assumed you knew.
Yeah, so Sean pointed out that I stated that Dark Age of technology with the changes in technology and how far the Imperium's regressed, I made the statement that Baneblades were scout tanks.
Yeah.
And Sean sort of reached out and said, well, this isn't actually true. The whole Baneblades were a scout tank thing was sort of an internet meme that went too far. And I actually chatted to Sean about this a little bit.
Yep.
And I was sort of explaining, I understand the Baneblades weren't a scout tank, as in, like, they would sneak up behind enemy buildings. They're still a Baneblade. They're freaking huge. The Baneblade is actually listed as a medium-sized tank, which in a lot of cases meant it was sent forward ahead of the main battle line. So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was a scout tank in the form of it took point, not that it was actually like sneaky. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
no, it
still-
sounds pretty
was-
wrong what you're saying.
It was still a freaking Baneblade. Okay, yeah. But yeah.
Oh, there's
Sean-
some good corrections. Do you know
Yeah.
what? They're actually beneficial for the show, except for Lloyd.
Lloyd is banned from listening to the show.
Yes. Yeah. Turn it off right now.
Yeah.
I've got a sixth sense. I know if you're listening to us.
Yeah, but I genuinely thought it was other source lighting because the light source was from something else, like it's another
Yeah,
source.
that sort of makes sense. Do you know? It actually makes a lot more sense than mine, which is original source, because like, what's the original source?
The
Probably
sun.
Tomato. Oh, right. We're on different pages there. Okay, episode.
Patreons.
Patreon. That's what I said.
Why don't you read our list of new Patreons?
So we've got a fair few on our crusade to the butt tattoo.
Yes.
Yes, I believe there's banners being drawn up for it right now. Oaths at the moment are being taken. There is quite the following amassing.
There's a lot of messages of people asking me how many more people until butt tattoo.
Yeah, yeah.
In fact, yeah. As you read these names, there's a couple of them I'm going to point out that they've actively told me they're only doing this to spite me to ensure that I get butt tattoo.
Yeah, I'm all for that. It's brilliant. But the following is definitely increasing. So we have a cracking name to start off with. Dacamatic. It does sound like a very cheap power tool. Right. Sandro. Treasy. Grant Train.
Grant, who also told me that as it gets closer, if we need one final sign on to hit that 100, he will make his wife sign up.
Oh, what a wonderful conversation to have. We need to pledge money to this person. Why? We need to do stuff to his butt. All right, fair enough.
No, Grant's a legend.
Yeah.
He's actively crusading to make me a better person.
Oh,
And,
okay.
yeah.
Long crusade. Josh, Calligator, Brian, Samson, Roy, and we have another Carried Club member. So they have the ability to get us to write an episode for them. And it's Benjamin. Yes. Do you know this person as well?
I
This is
do.
another familiar
Benjamin
contact.
is another person who actively reached out and was like, so he's someone I chat to a lot, and he's basically just been like, yeah, you big dummy, I'm doing everything I can to ensure you end up with a tattoo on your butt. Um, Ben is actually the Danish coffee. We mentioned him in regards to his awesome clown grinder cult.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. Another person who taunts me. He's just like, yep, gonna
Good
make
man.
you get a tattoo. And if you enjoy the show and you are interested in supporting the podcast, please shoot over to patreon.com/the Underhive Lorekeepers podcast. We are 100% funded by the goodwill of our audience, though we do this for the love of our hobby and other source lighting. Each month we have a Patreon exclusive episode, as well as competitions, polls on episodes, and other bonus content. If you are looking for another way to support us, get onto our social media, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. A like and subscribe helps us grow and gets our particular brand of lore out into the world. All of our links will be in the show notes, and don't forget to give us a 5-star review on your preferred podcast platform. Now, Nathan, we are finally there. I think that entry only took us about 20 minutes.
Oh, that's good. Short one,
So
though.
tight
Tight run ship.
run ship.
If
What
we
are
were on
we
the Titanic,
talking about?
no
Oh,
problems.
if we were on the Titanic, we would have had that thing sunk in 16 minutes. Just
We'd bring
knocking
the
holes in
iceberg
it.
too. Just knocking holes. What are you doing? Just efficiency, mate. It's called efficiency. Yeah.
2 icebergs.
Yeah.
It was an international incident. We shouldn't joke about it.
No, we shouldn't.
Nathan.
Yes. Right.
What are we talking about this episode?
We are actually talking about alien weapons in one of our series episodes, which is an Open the Armories and alien Xenos weapons on Necromunda.
It has been a while since we've done an Open the Armories. What was the last one?
I think it was the chain weapons, I
Chain
believe.
weapons?
Yeah. I'm sure it is. Sure it was.
Yeah, because that's when we came up with soup.
Oh, that's right. Yes. That's right. Wonderful soup. But in this episode, yeah, we're just going to talk about some of the more esoteric, some of the more weirder guns that have made it to planet. And this is, I'm not going to say is a comprehensive list, because I think you take any Xenos race and any weapon other than stuff they're mounting on, tanks and vast war machines, but any sort of handheld weapon in some way, shape or form could probably or possibly make it to Necromunda. So we're going to talk about things that we know definitely have hit the planet, but again, it's not purely exclusive. You'll be able to find a shredder gun or a rail rifle somewhere on Necromunda if you looked hard enough and in the right places.
And that's the thing, these are primarily the equipment that's been bought out of the Book of Judgement, in regards to sort of some of the Xenos equipment, that sort of thing there. And we're really just wanting to talk about them because, one, Open the Armories episodes are always fun, and we get to come up with some sort of just dumb gang ideas. Just some
Yes.
dumb character ideas. Like, I think some of our best ones have come from this. But also, this is an episode that was actually sort of requested by a couple of people. Matt from Hive Market Minis, for example, sort of said he'd like for us to start talking about this sort of stuff. And it was just sort of like, yeah, hell yes, let's do it. So I will jump in here and go with the first one, and it's one that I actually have one on my table here somewhere because I was going to put one on my squat gang, and that is the Kroot long rifle. Now, the mercenary Kroot can be found in countless regions across the galaxy, sometimes fighting with the enemies of the Imperium, sometimes fighting with its allies. While Necromunda does not tolerate Xenos to enter its hive cities, some examples of alien weapons, such as Kroot long rifles, can sometimes be bought from cold traders. Yeah, so that was what it tells us in the Book of Judgement. And one of the other sources we can sort of get here is actually the chapter approved book from back in 2003. And it
Oh,
tells
wow.
us the
Yeah.
Kroot rifle fires a solid slug propelled by a chemical reaction, though it is in fact adapted by the Tau to fire charged pulse rounds, giving it the equivalent stopping power of a bolt gun. Blades are attached near the muzzle and the stock, emulating the style of traditional Kroot fighting staves. This allows the weapon to be used as both ranged and in close combat. It is still quite bulky, however, and so is not combined with other weapons. Other versions of the Kroot rifle include the Kroot gun and the Kroot hunting rifle. But one thing I love about this weapon when it comes to Necromunda is exactly what it talks about there. It is a ranged weapon that is also a close combat weapon.
Yeah, right.
So
Yep.
range wise, it's awesome. 12 to 24 strength plus one. Short plus one accuracy with a strength 4 damage 1. All right, but because it is what it is, it's firing. It's no longer that black powder weapon the Kroot would have developed.
Yeah.
It's got the Tau tech in there. It's an ammo of 4 plus. So
Oh, wow.
50%
That's really good.
chance
Yeah.
you're not failing your ammo roll. It has knockback, so when it does hit you, like it says, it hits you effectively like a bolt gun. It's smashing you back, but it's plentiful ammunition. So you
Oh,
stuff it
wow.
up. You just reload that bad boy.
That's amazing.
Like
That's
it's
a really good weapon.
it is, and like you compare that to other sort of like somewhat decent ranged weapons up to that 24 inches.
Yeah.
I think the Kroot rifle is better than most of them. And then
Yeah, I
you
would say
have
so.
the option
Yep.
of using it in close combat as well, where it literally is then a versatile weapon, so it's either engagement range or up to 2 inches away because of the length of it. You can just imagine reaching over your ally to sort of stab
Yeah.
someone with those spikes and that.
It's almost like a long swing, like almost, or like I'm not going to say like a scythe, but is something similar to that, where you're really just trying to hook your opponent rather than
Yeah.
necessarily bludgeon them or anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
But its strength plus
cool.
1 is disarm as well. So with those hooks, you can just imagine if you're skilled enough, you can, someone's coming at you with a club or a fighting knife or whatever. You can get up underneath their wrist, give them a little nick, and flick the weapon away from them.
Yeah, yeah.
It's two weapons in one. So you're taking this, and then on top of that, because it's just a basic weapon, you've got 2 other weapon slots available. The Kroot long rifle,
Yeah.
in my mind, is you've obviously read the Tanith First and Only books.
I have, yes.
When I believe McVenna gets into close combat and he starts swinging his las gun.
Yep.
What were they called? The Tanith Woad Warriors, I think they were.
It's been a long time since I read it,
yeah.
but I do believe that's correct. Yes.
That's how I picture it. It's this rifle that you're taking your shots, but if the enemy gets too close, you
Yeah.
effectively are you're taking your hand off the trigger. You're grabbing it like a fighting staff, and you're swinging it. But this thing is bladed, like this. It's just so Kroot. Like their weapons, because of the mindset of the Kroot people and the way their race has evolved and the way they travel and fight as mercenaries, it's just such a Kroot weapon.
Oh, 100%. Like it embraces the brutality, not only with the way that it shoots, but the way that it's used for close combat as well.
Yes.
The fact that Necromunda takes on board a weapon like this, it gives you a good sense of how different it is, how good a weapon it is when it's used by an individual as opposed to, say, a squad. Do you know what I mean? When you've got a squad firing them at 40k, you kind of have to, like, oh, there's my 10 guys, I've got to roll their 10 dice straight away. Whereas when you've got the individual firing a Necromunda, you can really play with a few of the rules that are going on. And what that does is it gives the weapon a lot more life, a lot more character. It gives it a sense of something that is actually quite terrifying. That, when the guardsman's getting hit by this, you can sort of go, wow, it's not just like a strength 4 shot. It is this weapon that's hitting them with this solid slug. Now, that's a guardsman in flak armor. For the poor little Jew who's wearing, the hand-me-down skivvy and, newspaper armor. Would they have newspaper armor? I'm sort of thinking Mighty Ducks when they wrapped the newspaper around their shins and so forth. But, yeah, getting hit by this, if it doesn't kill you, it's going to make you take up the life of a Factorium floor. You'll be like, wow, I don't want to get hit by that ever again because that has bruised me from tailbone to tip of my nose sort of thing. So, yeah, it does put you out. But what you're saying about the brutality, it's exemplified in its close combat rules,
Yep.
and you can see, you could see a finely honed, tuned warrior using something like this. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's a good representation. When I look at this weapon, it's a good representation of something that nomads would be using. It doesn't have to be ash waste nomads.
Thank you. I don't see this as... I'm not picturing an Orlok with a Kroot gun.
Yeah.
I'm maybe an Escher, given their sort of alliances with the cold trade and that. Vansar, no, because we don't want to get up close. We're better than that. The Cawdor are using it as a walking stick. The Goliath are using it as a butt scratcher. And is there anyone else?
The mighty House Delark.
They're not using Kroot weapons, mate, unless they're using it to assassinate the Tau ambassador. But,
all they're using it for is they're taking the blades off to chop up the ghast into nice fine lines.
But nomads, dude,
Yeah.
outcasts, Venators, But what you said, that ash waste nomads, not the nomads, but nomadic peoples.
Exactly.
Oh, those caravaneers we talked about a few episodes back.
Yeah. 100%. And so this is a weapon that, maybe they would have seen a Kroot, an actual Kroot long rifle being used, and they've gone, let's modify and take on that design. So you then start to take this weapon into your gangs as like their standard armament, provided that you can actually get it into your gangs if you get the right rolls and so forth.
Yeah.
But it's a perfect weapon for nomadic tribes because there's going to be times where even with that, what did you say, plentiful and 4+ reroll, sometimes that's not going to work out in the wastes. You're not going to have that ammo. Even though it's readily available, in the middle of nowhere, you're not going to have that ammo. And what are you going to do? Discard your gun? No, now you've got it as a close combat weapon. Now it's something that becomes like this, it's almost a weapon of symbolism. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
I think there was an episode I heard where they were talking about double-bladed knives, sort of thing. Yeah,
I'm not a fan of Black Foreign podcasts and that
Yeah,
sort of thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
but-
I've heard of them. I'm not a fan of their show.
Yeah, I mean, it had its moments, but the actual weapon becomes a symbol and a thing that, when you see that, this is not some ragtag band hoping to make it through the wastes. These are some nomads who are using weapons that are always with them. You know what I mean? So,
Yes.
very similar to the White Scar Space Marines, where live and die in the saddle and all the rest of it, and they embrace that lifestyle. This is what the weapon means to these people as well. They embrace the lifestyle of what it is to field this weapon. You don't have a backup fighting knife. Everything you have, everything that you are, is incorporated within this weapon. And that's what I'm saying, like, as much as we can talk about it as just the Kroot rifle, it's symbolism for, like, the hardworking, the survivalist becomes more the point for me.
Oh, I see it as if I see someone with a las gun, I know they are a common man. I see someone with a shotgun, I know they are a common man. I see someone with a bolt gun, they're stronger than normal.
Yeah,
Plasma weaponry, they're more high
yeah,
tech, etc. If you see someone with a weapon like a Kroot rifle, especially on a place like Necromunda, in my mind, they are one of two things. They are incredibly dumb, using a weapon because it looks very dangerous, and they are probably not skilled enough to use it,
yeah.
or they are an individual who is skilled enough to use it, therefore very, very dangerous.
Yeah, I still think that idea of them being the survivalist, I think, is
Yes.
what it boils down to in my brain. Like,
Yes.
this is like, America during the period of exploration, where you had the trackers who would go off into the wilds for nigh on weeks or days or whatever, and they'd come back covered in furs and all that kind of stuff. But people knew that they were the ones who could abandon the city life and still survive quite well. This is where I see even a ganger in a hive who carries one of these. It's like, oh, we steer clear of them
They would have a
because
certain look to them.
yes, yeah, they would have a certain je ne sais quoi to them.
Yes.
I think that's a Deliquetian word, actually.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah. Je ne sais ack.
Yeah, exactly. Well, look,
No.
we've got a few weapons to go through,
Yes,
so
yes.
rather than get caught up on what is currently the best weapon, I will move on to the Klingon weapon, the Rak'Gol Razor Gun. No, the Rak'Gol Razor Gun. The Rak'Gol are a cybernetic reptilian race of pirates and scavengers who plague the space lanes of the Imperium. The Razor Gun typifies their cruel kind, firing a cloud of hemio-seeking reactive shards that are drawn to the warm-blooded creatures. When these shards find flesh, they burrow towards the organs of their target, leaving horrific injuries in their wake. This is a gun for somebody who deserves a very big slap on the wrist. An absolute naughty no-no. This is if you're firing this gun, there's a few considerations that need to be taken place. Firstly, do not get captured, because
You are not getting captured.
yeah. Well, if you do, you're very much going to be made an example of. Secondly, cover yourself in some sort of cooling agent or ice, because if one of those little shards decides, hey, the host is just as good as the target, it's coming back for you. And thirdly, unless you're the gang leader, how dare this get sanctioned in a gang?
Oh,
This is
yeah,
just,
buddy.
you would have to be sitting there with the safety on all the time. Like, you literally take the safety off only when you go to shoot at a bad person or a naughty no good.
Dude, the rat goal, from my knowledge, come from the Rogue Trader sort of role-playing game books.
Yeah.
And they are awesome. Picture, like spiders with, like, multiple arms that will routinely, like, hunt anything. Like, they're the type of ones that will hunt, like, corn berserkers, because they think it will be a lot of fun. They're pirates who thrive on dealing as much damage to literally anyone. Like they just want to damage you as part of their hunt. Like
Right.
they
I
are
totally agree with that.
they are
I
insane.
I don't know any images of them. You just shared a few with me now. And looking at them, it completely justifies the Great Crusade. Like, I look at that and I'm like, Big E, you totally had it right. A species like this just needs to get wiped out purely for the aesthetic of them. They look like very, very bad things. And also then on top of that, their attitude is very, very poor.
But they're amazing because their weapons are designed like hemio-seeking reactive shards.
Yeah.
So they might be aiming for you, but if there's just a couple of guys in the room or in your like rough area,
Yeah, yeah.
the bullets are seeking them and hitting them, and then it describes them here as finely barbed slugs. So when they're obvious, this is obviously something you're shooting at people with no armor.
So-
Our t-shirt wearing Jew from before.
Yeah. Well, I would just say, though, when you're talking about... I want you to go back to that description of what it was, but when they're shooting this weapon, and they are pirates, they're not shooting to just, like, hit a singular target. I imagine them just, like, spraying the control room or spraying an armory room or something on a ship and just leveling this whole area with this kind of firepower and then just, whatever's in there, hopefully it's cactus, will go and raid the gear. So they don't care if
Absolutely.
they're killing, maiming, whatever. Doesn't matter. They're just firing their shards. But I sort of have an image of these shards. You're saying that they'd be good against things that aren't wearing armor. I actually envisage that they'd be good against things wearing armor because the fine shard will find a way. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's exactly it. I'm saying like they would be the reason I think they'd be going after sort of low to no armor is because, like anyone, they know that if you're a pirate, you want booty. Who has more booty than the Imperial convoys and that sort of thing. Their ships are designed to like be their ships are crap. You look at them and you're just like they're shoddy, they're primitive, they're basically weapons built around like a navigation and like an engine. They remind me of the Reavers from
Oh, yeah, from Firefly.
Firefly.
Serenity.
I can't believe it took me that long to remember Firefly.
I would just
They remind me of
just
that.
make a short note here. Oh, for those who haven't seen it, Firefly, Serenity, do yourself a favour, watch both. What are we saying? Early 2000s? Early 2010s, maybe? Yeah. I can't quite remember then. But yeah, do yourself a favour, watch it. For those who have watched it, yes, you understand our sadness
You
about
get
it.
it. But yeah, their ships are basically designed to get up as quick as possible so the Rak'Gol can get into enemy ships. And then in my mind, people with these the Rak'Gol with these razor guns are just shooting because unless you're wearing like full power armor, you're going to have weak joints between the arm, like the armpit or the groin or the
100%.
back of the legs, and it's just going straight through. And then they burrow towards your organs.
Yeah.
And for the Rak'Gol, worst case scenario, you die, you bleed out, you're gone.
Yep.
Best case, someone's dragging you back to a med bay, and so people are focused on keeping you alive. In reality, they're just going to clean up the ship while the resources are being used, and then take everything they want.
Absolutely. That's why I said it's not a weapon of necessarily like, where like you take something like a bolter, right? For a perfect example.
Yep.
A bolter is going to stop you dead in your tracks, and it's probably going to kill you if you're wearing flak armor. Like,
yes.
Let's talk from a lore point of view. Let's ignore the game side of it here. But from a lore point of view, when a bolter hits a guardsman, there is nothing left but a pair of boots.
An explosion.
An explosion. Whereas the Rak'Gol weapon, when that hits, it's going to leave a lot behind because it's going to have a little burrowing and so forth, and they're going to be writhing around in pain. Those pirates may go in and kill that person, but probably not.
They're going to let you scream because while you're screaming, it's very Night Lords. They're using this is a terror weapon. The Rak'Gol are they thrive on terror. Their weapons are specifically stated to make specific noises that cause terror amongst people. And on top of that, the whole time, the Rak'Gol, who are like 8 foot tall, like 2.5 meters, like spider people, are screaming the whole time, scaring the shit out of anyone who can hear them. Like,
Absolutely. You know, the way you describe it, it's like the Night Lords are just taking notes. Just like, absolutely, sign me up.
Oh my, okay, gang idea. But a terrible gang. It's a bunch of Rak'Gol, and they've got like this apprentice pirate, and he's a Night Lord, and the whole time he's just like, oh, I really like how you skinned that guy while he was trying to like push you away. How did you do that thing with it? Oh, I need 4 arms to do. Note to self: get Fabius to install second set of arms.
Absolutely.
Huh. Can I have one of those razor guns for experiments? I can't.
Oh wow! What do you want to return? Yeah. I'll show you where the best shipping lanes are. Absolutely, no problem.
Absolutely.
You want to go kick in the teeth of some Ultramarine?
Yeah. A bunch of Rak'Gol have joined a Night Lord's like warband.
Oh
and that would be a great. You do them as like as Khorne berserkers. Actually, model them as Rak'Gol. Because they're getting up close, they're just slicing and dicing. Oh, that'd be sick. Actually.
But how do you represent that gun? That's the thing. There's no weapon in 40k like if you were to play it.
Absolutely not. No,
you just play it. But they would look really cool as a squad accompanying the Night Lords.
Yeah.
You know, they would look really, really awesome. I guess, look, we did it for the first gun, so we better just have a quick little look at their stat line. Oh, look, it's a strength 3 weapon with a -2 modifier. So what I was saying about it digging into the armor is totally correct. But
yes.
But it does have that pretty weak ammo roll.
But what does it say immediately after that, Nate? It's short range 6, which respectable. Long range 20. At that 20 mark, you're sort of neg 1 accuracy. Fair enough. But what are those 2 traits it has there?
Rapid fire, which is it's totally understandable.
Rapid fire.
Oh, rapid fire 2, yes,
buddy.
Totally understandable. Oh. So this is what I believe it's trying to represent is that when you fire that and there's people within close proximity, all your little razor bug things are going into. Like it's almost like a long range shotgun in a way.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You just fire it, hit and forget, whatever. But on top of that, it has toxin, which I think the reality here, it's not that it's a toxin weapon. It's that they're using toxin to represent how deadly the weapon can be, given that it only takes one of these little shards to find its way to a heart, to a lung, to something vital within that organ structure for it to take down the opponent in just one little burst of fire.
Well, that's exactly it, because you roll that d6. If it's higher than your opponent's toughness, it's that shard's gone into the heart or the lung or the liver or whatever. I think you've described that perfectly. It is a longer range shotgun because you might be shooting out 6 attacks and... Lord have mercy if you roll, 3 6s with that. Like, mate, that is, that's phenomenal. But
you clear a room with it, and it's a perfect weapon for raiders and pirates, and perfect weapon for the Night Lords. If you're listening, Sevatar, just
we
get
love
your hands on that. We do love you. I actually spoke to one of our friends, Trent, who's one of our Karate Club members, and I was speaking to him about Sevatar today, actually. And some of the great lines he has, and he's just such an awesome character. He would very much appreciate a weapon like this.
Yeah. Oh.
For those who don't know, Sevatar is a captain of the Night Lords. I don't know what his exact.
He's
the
captain.
The captain. Yeah, we'll call him that. Anyway, this is not, Underhive Lorekeepers Sevatar episode. This is...
Underhive, Night Lorekeepers.
What's our next weapon?
It's something a little pointy-eared. It is the sling gun. Now, the sling gun is an advanced alien assault weapon of mysterious origins. Propelled by a gravitic accelerator, the sling gun fires a furious burst of monofilament discs at its target. Each one of these razor-sharp projectiles can easily cut through armor and flesh, often reducing the victim to a crimson mist in mere moments. Now, this is obviously based on the Eldar shuriken weaponry. In fact, sling guns
100%.
were a really old piece of, I want to say, Imperial Army equipment and Rogue Trader. You could equip them with sling guns the same way the Eldar had lass weapons, I want to say.
Yeah, I think in that sense they were, but I honestly, I thought, oh look, this is stretching way back into the memory banks for me, but I did think that they were an old sort of like street name for the shuriken catapult. But
The shuriken catapult.
Yeah, I think that's what shuriken catapults used to be called, but I don't quote me on that one. I'm not 100% sure. So
Actually, I think you're entirely right, because this is a basic weapon, not a pistol. So it can't be the shuriken pistol. But yeah, no, it's definitely the shuriken catapult. Like ignoring the older stuff and that sort of thing there. It fires a monofilament disc. We know that shuriken catapults fire a monomolecular disc. Who are they? They're not Guardians, the...
Dire Avengers?
The Dire Avengers.
Yes, yeah.
Have them. And yeah, in first edition, I remember they looked almost like a Wookiee bowcaster.
Yeah,
Yeah, but...
Definitely so. Yeah. That's a good way of looking at them, actually.
This weapon is, in my opinion, not great in comparison to the last two we have done here. The range, 6-inch short, 12-inch long, but +2 accuracy at that short range. All right?
So, the stats that you're reading here, this is from when I played back in second edition. This feels very familiar to what the shuriken catapults were back then. Like they were really, really reduced range, but they were quite nasty.
Weapon.
Yeah. So you get up close and you just like lay out a bunch of shots. Like you just give it out all the time. But when I had my guardsman squads there, I could keep the enemy at range for, back then it was like 2 turns. Until they're within range, and then when they are in range, yes, they're going to deliver a little bit more firepower. I think this is almost like a homage to the original sort of shuriken catapult from way back in the day. Like it's metamorphed into something completely different in the Eldar Army book now, but this is what we're seeing here. The stats that we see in Necromunda reflect more to what the gun was in second ed. I'd never played it in Rogue Trader, but definitely more like a second ed version of a shuriken catapult.
Yes, well, that's exactly it. I look at this as almost a bastardized version of the Dire Avenger shuriken catapult. It describes it as an assault weapon, and it's better at that 6-inch range. It's strength 4, which is automatically better than the Rak'Gol Razor Gun, which was only strength 3. It's up there with the Kroot long rifle at strength 4. It's AP -2. All right?
Yeah, right.
It's already showing itself to be a little bit more superior than the hodgepodge weaponry of the Kroot.
But this represents that razor sharp blade.
Yes.
Like it's not doing what the Rak'Gol weapon is doing. It's not trying to find a way through armor. It's actually just slicing.
It's going straight
through. Yeah. And I think what we're talking, like people are going to say, well, it's a small little razor. If that hit you in the arm, it's not stopping your show. You know what I mean? Like a bolt gun hits you in the arm, it's kind of the end of the show for you. You know what I mean? This hits you in the arm, it's going to sting a lot, it's going to hurt a lot. But I think this represents that the razor is hitting somewhere in that chest area, and it's cutting right through something really vital, really important, maybe even blasting out the back. So you've now got this quite difficult to seal up wound that is just ripped straight through the guts of you, and that's one disc. So with this is firing multiple discs, there's a good chance that it's cut, 5, 6, 10 of these tiny little cuts through you.
Monofilament weaponry in 40k is ridiculous because those discs will be like compressed monomolecular thin wires, and once they hit inside you, once they get through that armor and they get inside your body, they burst and basically just flail.
Yeah,
And that's what it says. It turns you to a mist because it is moving so quickly as it explodes inside you. It shreds you. It literally just cuts everything apart. Bone, bionics, organs, whatever. You just cease to be you are liquefied.
Yeah,
And it's
100%.
happening so fast that you die before you know you've been hit.
Yeah.
And that's where that AP neg 2, but it is only damage 1, but that's where it is. It's strength 4. If it's going to hit you, it might only cause 1 damage, but it doesn't care how tough you are.
I almost feel like it needs a little bit of a toxin rule, but that might make it a bit too powerful.
Well,
but
it is rapid fire 1, so you could logically, on average, you're getting 2 shots of this each time. Ammo roll 5+, not great, but you logically, if you fire it off a couple of times, you're probably going to get an average of 2 shots each round.
I don't get that with rapid fire weapons. They punish me.
Yeah. I'm not allowed to
that.
use rapid fire weapons. I get 1s and ammo rolls every time.
Yeah, that's exactly what I get too. You just sit there and say, people talk you up, Mr. Bolter, Mr. Plasma Gun, and what are you doing? But anyway, so this weapon is, again, I think another... So out of the 3 weapons we talked about, you, Spam, you'll rock up to our gang with a Kroot rifle. Everybody goes, way, whoa, coming in with the punchy gun. Yeah, nice. Very cool. You look a bit angry, you look a bit nasty, you look like a survivalist. You rock up with any one of these other 2 guns, and everybody's like, no. You keep that holstered the entire time. One of those bits of ammunition from the Rak'Gol Razor Gun and also the sling gun gets loose and ends up inside somebody. It's all over Red Rover. Like, even if they survive, they are eternally hateful of you for the rest of their existence. Because
it's the worst time for the rogue doc to walk in with the bags of fresh blood.
Exactly. But yeah, definitely the sling gun is one of those weapons I think would instantly create negative notoriety for you. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So people are just going to be looking at you going, no. You're firing a weapon here that is a little unfair. You know what I mean? It's, you're not firing a solid slug. You're not giving somebody a laser burn or something like that. You're actually trying to turn them into a pudgy, into a puddle inside their own skin. And that is, I think even within the realms of Necromunda, there'd almost be some level of, I'm not going to call it respect, but some level of sort of...
That's not fair fighting.
It's not fair fight. Do you know, it's like the Geneva Convention for Necromunda. They would have that and be like, oh, sling guns, big cross. What about flamers? Oh, no, we can't really stop them.
You can set someone else on fire. That's funny. But at least then you can take a corpse back to the harvesters and you can make some creds back. Have you tried putting that slop back into a bag? Yeah. Nah, mate, that's just not cricket. All right?
Yeah, like the Canadians have bags of milk. You just have bags of starch, or soon to be starch. That's what they try to sell to the manufactorum or the corpse grinders. Yeah, they have bags of milk.
Oh,
have you never seen it?
Okay, sorry. I'm going to derail the episode real quick.
Shock horror. Yep.
There is a a certain amount of contention with some of our listeners over the fact that I don't drink flavoured milk.
Don't you?
No, I don't drink flavoured milk.
Why?
I drink because milk is fine by itself. You don't need to flavour it.
Oh my god! You're so
but-
like, I'm not going to say you're boring, but Jesus, like, you know.
No, like I get it. I got into an argument yesterday.
Have you had strawberry milk before?
Yeah, I just don't like it. Like, it's
Oh.
fine. I just won't go out and get it. But yeah, just drink plain milk. So this is a little bit of a sort of public glove slapping to listener and friend of the show, the One Punch Orlock, Tom. Plain milk is best milk. Stop coming at me with flavoured milk. What did I call you? You flavoured milk Jezebel? Or whatever it was. I threw a scathing insult at him.
It sounds like it.
He literally sends me pictures and of flavoured milk. And I'm like, no.
What about a dare iced coffee? Like, you're screaming for a coffee in the morning. What do you
I
do?
have a coffee.
What if you can't get the coffee? Or if the closest coffee you can get is like pond water
Then I'll drink the pond water.
over the dare iced coffee?
Yep. I do not purchase flavoured milks.
You're insane.
No.
I don't purchase them because my body doesn't agree with milk anymore. But like those particular
that being
milks.
said,
But
if I go out to like a malt shop, I will have if I got a ye olde malt shoppy, I will have like a milkshake. That's fine because I can go out and get a milkshake because it's got ice cream. It's a frosty treat.
no. You're feckless and fickle. And this is your problem. This has been your entire problem the entire time of this show. Feckless and fickle. Only when it suits you. So you're saying something that's been produced in a dairy manufacturer is no good for you. But
I'm not saying it's not good for me. I know it's not good for me, and I know the milkshake isn't good for me, but I won't go out and get it. I will drink. I consume litres of milk a day of just plain moo juice. Like, it doesn't need flavour. It doesn't need flavour.
I totally agree with that. If you had said I don't drink milkshakes from the milkshake shop or from Dairy Bell or whatever, I'd be like, okay,
milkshakes
the man
are delicious.
No. I'm totally. Do you know what? I had my doubts a little bit with Tom. I was like, oh no, everybody's entitled to their opinion. You don't have an opinion. You have this mild sort of disassociation with flavoured milk, but only on your terms.
No, I just think plain milk is better. Plain milk is better. All right?
I don't think I've ever done this on the show, and I'm going to right now. If any of our listeners are out there who have access to milk, flavoured milks in bottles, send us a slab. Send us 10. That's fine. And send them to Sam. And we'll make a video of him drinking them.
I have a photo of Nathan drinking a Pepsi Max. How about we go on?
Don't.
How about we go on to the So Tom, mate, I love you, but plain milk is better. Nathan, let's rerail this derail.
Yes, okay, let's rerail.
Next weapon there.
Yes,
the
okay.
Rud Fusel.
It's a special weapon actually. It's the Hurad Fusel. The Hurad are a scavenger race found throughout the galaxy, consuming vast quantities of flavoured milks. Because they know what's good for them. Considered of limited technical sophistication, the Hurad nonetheless possess a detailed understanding of plasma technologies, which they employ in the creation of powerful long rifles known as fusils. These sometimes find their way into the hands of traders where they are coveted for their potency. Right, so I'm not great with the 40k alien races because, praise the God Emperor, wipe out anything that's Xenos. The Hurad are the big, like, Yeti-looking geezers, aren't they?
No, you're thinking of the picture that came out of, I want to say, the third or fourth edition book.
Yeah.
The the Hrud, they were known as like the Bendies. They're the ones in the robes. They were basically space Skaven. Um,
Oh, yes,
yeah,
yes, yes,
you're
yes,
thinking
yes.
of they were the Clawed Fiends. I
That's
think
it.
they ended up
Yeah.
being the monsters in the Dark Eldar sort of menageries, but
Yeah.
the Hrud were sort of the 40k version of the Skaven. Um, they they sort of it was never really agreed that they were the same sort of they were like dwarves to squats, Skaven to Hrud. But they are scavenger style um, rat monsters. And then they
Right.
changed. Uh, they changed a while ago to these sort of like time affecting, sort of segmented chitinous humanoids. Um,
Right. Okay. Yeah, I have.
yeah,
I've seen an image of that. Yeah, where they definitely look. We say humanoid, but it's very loose humanoid. You know, they
two
definitely
legs,
have.
two arms, a
Yeah.
head. Yeah,
Yeah. And I like that. I do. I do like that they try to push away from like it's humanoid without being, just another human. Like
yeah,
the Tau, very very humanoid, could be mistaken for human almost. You know what I mean? So whereas this is you're not putting a pair of boots and gloves on this thing. It's going to struggle.
yeah, yeah. Well, they had this really great. They like they sort of like travel. They immigrate to different places,
Yep. Yep.
and it's like a migrate. It's called a Rudd migration,
Yep.
and when they transfer across, when they move, it affects time. And this group of Iron Warriors were actually during the Great Crusade fighting the Harad, and was causing such damage to them that the Space Marines were aging. They were aging to a
Wow, that's
point
cool.
of like they would become elderly and infirm.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Marines can last for generations. Like they live for hundreds, if not
Well,
thousands of years in some
ask
cases.
Dante. Yes.
Ask Dante. But yeah, the distortion they were doing was affecting time. And another cool side effect of the distortion is that you can't focus on them. Like you'll look at them. They'll be in the middle of a room. They're the only thing in the room. It's well lit, and not only is time sort of being affected around them, but you can't exactly focus on them.
Yeah. Righto.
Like
Okay.
yeah, it's cool, but yeah, they're incredibly talented um, with the use of plasma and melter technologies.
Righto. Yep.
Yeah, they're uh, what's the
Just
word?
do you know if do you know how you're saying you can't focus on them? So if you were to exterminatus their planet, you wouldn't really have to focus on them. You could just focus on the planet and wipe them all out. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
No, you
Perfect.
can't. As in, you can't focus your eyes on them.
Oh no, I'm just
Like yeah,
just
They're-
covering all bases, mate.
oh mate,
Making sure the
absolutely.
Imperium's got that big switch to just go. Yep. Flick that. Get rid of them. They're done.
Well, it was. I want to say it was the Eldar during like the Great Crusade, where they basically said to the Adeptus Mechanicus, like, stay away from this area. Do not go here. And they're like, all right, cool, let's go there anyway. And they all just started dying. They're like, oh, well, those sneaky Eldar have done something. But the Rudd Fusel, yes, let's go back to that. Um,
Right, yeah. So I guess we've had our little Harad history lesson. So we probably should focus on the weapon. Now the weapon is a plasma weapon
yeah,
of some description, without it being called a plasma weapon. Quite powerful in the sense. Oh look, I always talk about how we avoid the rules, but we might as well jump into it. We've been doing it for every other weapon, so why not? So on a low setting, it's 9 to 18 range. Strength 6 and damage 2. So it is definitely a cooker. Once that hits you, a little bit of lie down time and rapid fire 1. So, and damage 2, AP 1. So it's probably pretty standard plasma type weaponry in that regard. But we know it's plasma tech. But I think in regard to like the Imperial plasma gun, or like the standard plasma gun, we'll call it. It's pretty much just a slightly shorter ranged plasma gun on the low setting, and but better strength. So it's a little bit of a showstopper, but you suffer a bit of range penalty. And then on its maximum fire setting, it gets back up to that 24-inch range, but a minimum range, short range of 12 inches. Plus 1 to hit at that 12-inch range, which is nice.
Yeah, buddy. But
I think the key thing here that it pumps up to strength 8, which is very, very nasty. When you're talking about doubling toughnesses and all that kind of stuff, it can make such a massive difference. That strength, that extra pip of strength that it has over the standard plasma gun. So
that is still brown trouser time for anyone in your range.
Oh yeah. There's no doubting that. Like if a regular plasma gun hits you, but a Harad Fusel would definitely sort you out. Now the thing that for me though is we don't really get an understanding of what this weapon looks like, other than it being known as a long rifle.
Well, a fusel is said to be a short, like musket type rifle, right?
Yeah.
And another type of fusel, typically, when it comes to like a simple, easy sort of long arm, is a Jezzail.
Oh, right, like the old Skaven Jezzail.
Just like the Skaven Warplock Jezzails.
Yes,
I'm genuinely picturing, and I've found that picture you mentioned before about the, when you said, he's the big, what's the word? The big monster.
Yeti looking, yeah.
Yeah. The down the front, the Nocturnal Warrior of the Rud has almost like a long musket.
Yeah.
And if you go to the 6th edition rulebook, there is a creature that looks like a Skaven that has, and I'll share this image with you now. You tell me that in the bottom right-hand corner, then there under the Zote, is not a Rud with a long Jezzail type weapon.
Right. Okay. I am with you. Yes, I am totally with you on that.
That's what I picture it is. It's a almost homemade looking, very archaic looking, but obviously can do a lot of damage. Long rifle that's got some plasma nonsense on the inside of it there somewhere.
Absolutely, totally. I will say though that it's cool in the sense that it's a different looking plasma then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not the the exposed coils, the standard looking plasma that we get, like, because even the orcs, when they back in second ed, when they were firing plasma guns, they look like Imperial plasma guns, and across the board, wherever, unless I guess the Tau fire a version of plasma that's very, very different looking as well, but it's more compact most definitely than what the Tau firing. So this high energy long rifle, basically, which is strange though, because it doesn't have a tremendous range. It's only got a range of 24 inches. So in terms of representation in the game, it lacks that a little bit. But I did find in our research for this episode one image of supposedly that the Harad Fusel is in the Necromunda Market kit, apparently. Like, I just read a little line for it there, and I was like, oh no, I haven't been able to find the image itself to actually look at the weapon. But if that be the case, that's cool.
Yes, that is I'm looking at the exact piece you're talking about right now. Yes, I would love to use that as a fusel. That's perfect. It's a long, complicated but simple looking weapon.
Yeah, righto.
Yeah, huge fan of that. Perfect.
Right. Okay. So if that be it, then somebody's got themselves a Harad Fusel to sell. So in terms of what in terms of what this gun means to your gang, it is it is very much an unassuming weapon. Like the other weapons that we've spoken about, particularly the sling gun and the Ruckle razor gun. They're things that are going to make people go, whoa, 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 we don't want to see this around here. Whereas the fusel is certainly something that you could just tuck away. You know what I mean? It almost gives the
Yes.
vibe of, what's the name of the weapon? Little Cricket? Correct me if I'm wrong here, from Men in Black.
From Men in Black.
So, and I'm not saying because it's a small gun, but it's very, very unassuming. You know, you look at this and you go, "Oh, that's just some sort of solid slug rifle." Yeah, righto. And then they start hearing this like little humming and whirring from it, like boo, 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 boo. Oh, okay. He's lining somebody up. He must be just mumbling to himself. And this blast of plasma comes out the end of the barrel, and suddenly everybody's like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! What the fire truck is going on in there?" Yeah.
Or you see, but that's the thing. You see this. I'm picturing a corridor with this, and he's got he's the rags and he's praying and he's lining it up, and he's a bounty hunter, former corridor, whatever, and he's praying and he's stroking the weapon and he's checking, he's turning his little dials and stuff, and they're like, "Just take this shot, old man," and he shoots it, and this forge boss, his head just no longer exists.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
they're just like, what the hell was that? And he's just, and he's like, and I have become the angel of death. And,
Yeah.
and they're just like, yes.
You most certainly
Yes,
have. The Emperor not only protects, the Emperor also avenges. So, but yeah, that's what I love about this weapon. Is so like, I mean, if that's the weapon that we think it is from the marketplace, it is very unassuming. Not something that any Tom, Dick, or Harry is going to go, "Oh yeah, massive plasma weapon sitting on that bloke's shoulder." This is just it's your bog standard, ready to go weapon until it kicks off. And when it kicks off, drop your linen, start your grin, and get out of there. It is going to absolutely rock socks. So,
It also shows how advanced they are in comparison to even the most advanced humans on Necromunda. Vansar. Like Vansar plasma technology and weaponry technology is
yeah, it still looks
leagues
plasma
ahead of everyone,
weapon. Yeah,
but
yeah,
is enormous in comparison to Hrud weaponry.
yeah.
That Hrud fusel, all the pictures of Hrud weaponry, you look at it and just go, how are you putting something so... It's almost like the Jakero with their digital weaponry. They can compress it into almost nothing. Where this Hrud weapon that looks so simple is super dangerous.
Yeah, as we already stated, it is, rules wise, already more powerful weapon than the standard issue plasma gun. So definitely a showstopper. Problem is filthy Xenos tech. So, But speaking of filthy Xenos tech, which we are, this is what this show's about. Let's move on to our next one.
Yeah, the Necrotic Beamer. This one is genuinely sick. The strange interloper race, known as the Sloth, are generally reviled by both humans and other denizens of the galaxy. These hateful creatures do, however, possess a talent for creating biomechanical weaponry. The Necrotic Beamer is an example of this kind of technology, a writhing, living metal scepter able to project a beam of bio-rending dark energy. Like, this is terrifying because it once again is a weapon, much like the Kroot rifle, that is not only a ranged weapon, but is also a close combat weapon at the same time. Now, we're not going to go into a huge sort of overview of who the Sloth are, and once again, because the minor races of 40k are so cool, and we are actually going to talk very quickly about the Sloth. I'm sorry, Nathan.
Go ahead.
Have you ever seen, and just like a trigger warning for everyone here, have you ever seen a pile of maggots?
Yes.
Like
yes,
you've
I have. I've worked in fast food, yes.
Yes, perfect.
Yep.
So deceased animals, now you look at them and it looks almost like the surface of the corpse is moving because of the number of maggots. Now, picture like maggots the size of worms and get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them together and now make them fit like a humanoid shape. Once again, man-shaped, but not necessarily man size and proportions.
Yeah.
That is the sloth. They
Yes.
literally infest planets and they want to cause death because they constantly need to feed. They have this hunger. And what they do is they cause wars and anarchy and chaos and destruction so they can then feed on the corpses and they're called like maggot men and carrion
Of course.
lords.
Yep.
And their technology is this weird mixture of like the flesh and what's the word I'm looking for? It's like the flesh and the actual mechanicals and
Oh, yeah. So it's like it's an organic and mechanized
yes.
thing that have just
Yes.
sort of been melded together, almost like a demon engine in a way, but not with that,
Perfect.
not with
Yes.
that demon essence to it, but more sort of like this organic and biological element is what we need, but we need a delivery system for it. So let's just, rather than have a magazine or a chamber or whatever, we're just going to merge these two elements together and create something that is just god awful to look at.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And,
right.
like, so sort of re-railing it a little bit there, this here does it perfectly. So the necrotic beamer, it causes you to rot and it just destroys you. Like you look at it in close combat. It's a very very close weapon. It says it's a ranged weapon, but it's a scepter, and
Yeah.
it's short range of 6, long range of 12, neg 1 accuracy outside of long range there. But straight away, it is strength 6.
Yeah,
Right?
yep.
It's AP -1. It's not going to do much to your armor, but if it hits you, it's damage 3. It is effectively a melter weapon. And on top of that, it is not the most. It's not the most precise of weapons. It also has scatter
I was
shot.
about to say that. Like you need to sit on the fact that it has the god awful scatter shot.
Yeah. So
You know
when
what I
it
mean?
hits you,
Yeah.
you're making D6 wound rolls.
Yep.
When it hits you, it's strength 6, damage 3,
Yeah.
scatter shot. So each of those damage is causing D6. This is just, if you get hit, you're done.
Yeah, you're
You're
cooked.
done.
You're absolutely cooked. And this is a perfect example where the stats match the law really, really well.
Yep.
Okay? What they're trying to convey with this weapon is it is rotting, it is corrupting, it is decaying whatever it's hitting. So multiple hits, like, that D6, it has melter. So if you've got, if you're within that short range,
You're done.
you're cooked it. You know what I mean? You're done. And it's strength 6. So it gives you all the capacity to say that if you're getting hit by this weapon is doing exactly what it says on the tin. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
The rules of the weapon abide by the law of the weapon as well. And the cool thing about it as well, it is scarce, yeah, whatever, that doesn't really matter. It could be a one-shot weapon, whatever the case might be.
It's not one shot.
No, but I'm saying it's scarce in the sense
Yeah.
that,
Oh, yeah.
if you do get your one shot, fantastic.
You've
But
done that battle.
exactly. The thing about this weapon, though, is it's designed to be rotting whatever it's touching. So Grandpapa Nurgle's probably really quite happy with the sloth in this regard as well.
Yeah.
Because it is messing things up. And I think this. I'm just going to slight little derail. Nothing about flavored milk, but when you put the word melter in there, right, it begins to move your brain away from what I think the writers are trying to say here about this weapon, and you start to think of a melter gun. You start to think of that high fusion, wipe out a tank, just basically cook everything.
Yep.
The reason for melter in this is not this high fusion. This is to show just how incredibly deadly this weapon is. Very much like the toxin in the razor gun.
Yes.
And toxin in that, you kind of go, oh, it sort of makes sense, little bugs going, but that's not what it's trying to imply. It's trying to imply that this weapon is so potent and so dangerous, and not because it is a powerful weapon, but because it is rotting whatever it's touching. The maggots are feeding. They're getting in there, and it's basically wiping it out so that the sloth can feed from whatever's left without completely obliterating the target as well.
Correct. But
Definitely on the shelf of weapons that you rock up into the local Lucky Six with one of these, and everybody's like, out, no,
out.
no.
You can't bring that stuff in here.
Yep.
Go put it in the shelf outside. No one's going to steal it.
Go stand outside with the razor gun, sling gun, and those guys, because you're just causing a ruckus here just by turning up.
Yeah, but this is a great example of the rules writers taking existing rules instead of having to come up with something overcomplicated that you're only going to use for one weapon or one gang. Everyone knows how melter works. Everyone knows how toxin works, and they've added it in there and said this is how it works within the lore of the weapon. I love it. I love it. I think it's so good.
As soon as you read it and you look at an image of the sloth, or you just get a description of what they're like, you're like, yeah, this is a proper showstopper weapon. This
makes
when
sense.
It hits you, good night. And if if you've got armor, good luck to you. But that's the only thing that may or may not help you in this scenario. And from I guess we covered it off. It's close combat side. It's got that additional range for close combat because it is effectively a stave type weapon. But
I like the fact they've made it versatile.
Yeah. It's probably not as dangerous at close combat because it's only strength 3, but it still applies that 3 damage. So this is saying that when whatever creature is with you that decides to just bop you on the head with this stave, given the right angle of the hit, is enough to just completely destroy you or completely corrupt you or whatever, rot you, basically. Yeah. Again, another reason why you don't bring this weapon into a Lucky Six, because what if you drop it? Yeah,
you drop it, you accidentally rot one of Slate Medina's daughter's favourite rats, and all of a sudden you have the entire Medina clan coming after you.
Yeah, exactly.
And just own gang is going, we don't know you, friend.
Yeah, we don't know. No, not at all. It's just like, I was just the courier. I was told to pick this up and deliver it. Bad luck. Well, old Necromunda, we shoot the messenger twice. All right, I'll move into our next weapon. It is the Neural Flayer. Some Xenos weapons attack a target's consciousness by disrupting the neurons in their brain or by interrupting bioelectrical impulses to their cortex. Neural Flayers are an example of these kinds of terrible weapons, able to sear away a target's personality with a prolonged blast, or in the hands of a skilled user, render them immobile or even reduce a target to animalistic terror. So, again, just from the description of the weapon alone, please leave it on the weapon rack outside. You are not bringing this on into the Lucky Six. But Neural Flayer, this, I believe this is what a Callous Assassin may use.
No, that is the Neural Shredder.
Shredder.
But let me quickly bring up information about the Callous Assassin. The Neural Shredder is a vicious and shockingly effective weapon against living targets. Though short range, the weapon projects a cone of psionic disruption that tears apart a victim's neural pathways. Armor has no protection against this hideous attack, even the mightiest foes dropping their knees, spasming violently as liquidish brain matter froths from their eyes, ears, and mouth. The
Oh,
strange
okay.
weapon is of unknown origin, though some speculate it is but one of a range of psychic weapons developed by the Adeptus Astra Telepathica. I think the Adeptus Astra Telepathica had stolen it from whatever alien race also came up with the neural flare.
See,
That
it does seem
is,
appropriate. Yeah.
yeah, that is, the neural flare seems like almost a more refined version of that.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Because and again, this is one of those moments where Necromunda you can just do so much more with. Like that, the neural shredder needs to be built for 40k, right? But I think if it was brought into Necromunda, it would definitely pick up some of the traits that the Flayer has. So yeah, it has a shopping list of like traits for its full blast. It actually, well, we probably should clarify. It has two firing options of a short burst or a short blast and a full blast. So exactly as the lore is saying, like you can just give it a little tickle on the brainstem, or you can just give them the full laser light show straight to the cranium.
Yep.
So, and it's short blast. The shopping list isn't that bad. It's got concussion and flash. So, and then it's got two other traits of esoteric and template, but they're not relevant to the funky stuff it does. But on the full blast, this is where it starts to get like a little bit cocoa bananas. It has concussion, fear, flash, pulverize. So, for those who are unaware, like ourselves with the rules, pulverize, you got to roll higher than the target's toughness, and they change their injury roll from a flesh wound to a serious injury. Then it has flash, which is instead of making a wound roll for models hit, pass an initiative handling test, or become subject to the blind condition. So you're blinding them. You're basically crippling them with a pulverize. Then you can cause fear in them. So instead of suffering an injury roll, the target must pass a nerve test with a -2 modifier or be immediately become broken. And then it also has gas as well. So instead of making a wound roll equal to or higher than the toughness to inflict an injury roll, it has so many different ways of hurting the opponent without actually doing anything physical to them. And this is, I guess, why it's a neural flare, like very much like the neural shredder. But this weapon also has template. So you can mess up an entire party of people with one little pull of the trigger.
You get this on like a Rak'Gol with infiltrate,
Yep.
and or even just like a Dalark leader. They walk up from behind where you're doing maybe a defensive like deployment, and boom, they hit your leader and two gangers, or they're hitting multiple models with
Yep.
this. It doesn't matter if you go a full blast and you only manage to pull this thing off once.
Yep.
You are in for a bad time if someone shows up with a neural flare. Like
100%. 100%. And the way I look at it, it is very much a Dalark weapon. Very, very much.
oh yeah.
It screams of all the things that they would want to do. They don't want to destroy the body. They want to melt the mind. Do you know what I mean? And then probably still try to have them recoverable. But yeah, it is again another one of those. Please leave it outside weapons. But
This is why I think it's a more refined version of the neural shredder.
I was just
Shredder
about to say,
can only work on one person.
well, no, actually, I think no. I think the Calidus Assassin. Definitely, when I used one way back in, when Flamer templates were still around, it used a Flamer template as well.
Oh,
So,
did it? Okay.
yeah, I think in modern 40k they've eliminated all that and use this different rule called Torrent, which I think it's just you just roll a certain amount of hits. But yeah, the both neural weapons are definitely multiple showstoppers.
Well, I think the neural flare is better.
Oh, I do. I think that as well. But as I mentioned earlier, I think if the Shredder got the Necromunda treatment, I
Oh
would
yeah.
love. I would love to see that. You know what I mean? There's so many weapons we see in 40k. You're like, what would you be if you managed to transfer across to 40k? Like,
A
what would you?
servitor.
I'm sorry. What would you be if you managed to transfer across to Necromunda?
A servitor.
A servitor.
I would be there. I'd be like, "Hey, fellow humans," and someone would just be like, "Yeah, we're turning you into a servitor."
No, I'm talking about the weapons.
Ah.
Like, if you took a weapon, with that mentality, you probably would be a servitor. But if you took a weapon from 40k, what does it look like when it hits the tabletop on Necromunda? It becomes they can take on very different elements. Like, for the prime
If a
example,
commissar sees it, it looks like you're getting executed.
yeah, but no. You take for example the bolter, right? The
Yeah.
bolter in 40k, yes, standard weapon strength 4 hit, yeah, blah 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 blah. Bolter in Necromunda is like run for cover, and even then,
Yeah.
get deeper. Get away. It is an absolute like ruiner of not just individuals but gangs in total. So, but the neural flare I think is definitely one of those weapons that, for me, sorry, I just burped right on here. There.
Oh, good.
For me, is one of those weapons that I think you really need to have an incredible amount of justification to have it in your armory. There needs to be a reason why you're not trying to necessarily kill your opponent, on the streets of Necromunda.
It's
It
got
can't.
the lark written all over
Oh,
it.
absolutely it does. I'm thinking outside of the realm. Like, all the weapons we talked about, bar the Necrotic Beamer. The Necrotic Beamer, I feel, is a weapon you would accidentally buy. You'd be like, whoa, what have I got here? Oh, yeah, it does look like, oh, what have I done? What have I done? I have made a big stuffy uppy here, and I'm going to get into a lot of trouble from a lot of people. Whereas a neural flare, that would have warning labels plastered all over it, and whoever's buying that, they are doing it for the most nefarious of purposes, because it's not, it's not a Harad fusel. It's not like, I'm going to shoot you, you're going to die. This is, I'm going to basically torture you until you're a mess of an individual. And at that point, I could kill you. I could capture you. I could do many things to you. It feels very much like a noble's weapon. Do you know what I mean? It's something that they would use because they would regard the Scummers, the Underhivers, as something that they could test this weapon on. Oh, last time I used this weapon, I fired it for 6 seconds. Well, today I'm going to fire it for 6.3 seconds just to see what it does. And then on this particular individual who is begging for their life, I'm going to fire it for 4 seconds just to see what happens.
Yeah.
It is definitely a weapon that I think would draw the ire of Arbites, Inquisitors, even in a way enforcers.
Hear me out.
I will.
This is a weapon that you would use on people from your own gang who'd been captured. If they've been captured by the Arbites or the Enforcers or whatever, and they're being held prisoner, and you don't necessarily want to kill them, but you want to make sure they can't give information to their captors, this is that almost, exterminatus style weapon where I'm not going to kill you because we're in the same gang, etc., but I'm going to render you unable to give this information to anyone.
So, but if you're getting close enough to hit them with a neural flare, would you not rescue them?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
It's like, oh, boss, look, I got the key. I've unlocked this little cage. I can get it. No.
You shouldn't have got captured.
Shouldn't have got captured.
Brain
neural
melt.
flayed. Yeah.
Brain melt. It's like it's basically just a Pokemon in human form. I choose you. Brain melt. Brain melt.
Yeah.
Brain melt.
Use brain melt. It's you firing the trigger, boss. How dare you speak to your boss? Brain melt.
Brain melt.
Brain melt. So I find it quite funny because it's like an example to the rest of the gang. Don't get captured.
Don't get captured because you won't die, but you'll never live again.
Yeah, we put your brain in a toasty machine, and she's Dunsky. Righto. Moving away from probably the most horrific weapon we've talked about so far.
Oh yeah, no, that weapon is the worst.
Yeah, no, I'm not down for the flare. You would never see me take it in a game. I'll put it that way.
I sure as hell would.
No, it's
I'd,
too.
I'd, I'd take this in. I would take this in a gang dedicated to the Chaos God Malal or Malice,
Yep.
because you would use it on yourself, so you'd forget that you worship such a terrible god.
Yeah, no, like the
Yeah.
best way for him to get followers is for people who just be like, nah, nah, nah. Oh, that one said Malal. No, I think he just went blah blah blah.
Brain melt.
Malal. The brain melt. Yeah. But yeah, we'll move away from the nastiest weapon we've read so far to
The
what's this one?
Uvath puzzle box. Now, little is known about the lost alien civilization of the Uvath, only that they once ruled over large sections of the segmentum obscurus, and that they could command the powers of the warp. The Uvath puzzle box is an unusual and extremely dangerous weapon, slow to activate, but able to unleash a storm of thousands of dark needles around the wielder. Now, little bit of sort of obscure 40k history. The Uvath were a race of Xenos that worshipped effectively chaos, but weren't necessarily like affected by it negatively. So they built this huge empire and were basically corrupted and enslaved humans out in the Calaxis sector, and their ability to manipulate the warp in the sort of the real world allowed them to build this just insane technology. It's very similar to remember the old Chaos Space Marine Kai gun, where those Dark Mechanicus
Yeah.
built the gun for,
Yep.
I think it was a Demon Prince, and he's just like, I'm going to destroy your planet anyway. Doesn't matter. But they would use these weird components that, kind of like orcs, they would get, a paperclip, a rubber band, a rock, and it would turn into a fully functioning plasma weapon. The
Yeah, righto.
Uvath
Yep.
sort of combined almost mundane components and turned it into incredibly complex and powerful technology that didn't necessarily work correctly because they infused it with so much energy from the warp, because they were effectively a form of master over the warp.
Oh right, okay. So like, are you talking warp travel?
They would travel sort of through the warp.
Well, I guess if they were in the, what did they say, the segmentum obscurus, like
Yeah.
they ruled large sections. Yeah, they would definitely have their warp travel, but it would be interesting to see if they were able to navigate it without, all the hassles that the Imperium has with it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, but no, because it was working for them. They had the technology that
Oh,
allowed them
right.
to manipulate it. Because at the end of the day, they worshipped chaos. They
Yeah.
were they were a tainted Xenos species. Like, they get double exterminatus.
Yeah, absolutely they do.
But looking at the puzzle box, it is ridiculous. So it is a very short-range weapon. Short range of 3, long range of 6, with +2 accuracy at the short range. It is
Of
only
course,
strength
because
2.
the person's standing next to you
Yeah,
when you're using it. Yeah.
with this Rubik's Cube.
You're just like
It reminds
desperately trying to do a Rubik's Cube.
It's damage 1, ammo 3 plus, so respectable ammo, whatever.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
also rapid fire 3.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you're rolling up to 9 hits, right?
Yeah.
It then has scattershot, which means you're rolling d6 on that. So if you roll 6s on those 9,
Yeah.
it is 54 hits.
So that
You
Yeah,
can
go
kill entire gangs effectively in a single round of combat. If you get hit with 54, I don't care. Just take the model off the board, put him back
There's a
in your
chance.
case, and go home. Alright? Take that model home, bury him in the backyard. He's dead. According to canon, that model is now dead.
Yeah.
Like, it's basically, it reminds me of the puzzle box from Hellraiser mixed with a
I've never
Rubik's
seen
Cube.
it, but yep.
You've never seen Hellraiser?
No.
Oh, you flavoured milk drinking buffoon. Like,
It's a scary movie. I watch scary movies.
oh, yeah, okay. It's basically a Rubik's Cube that is also a claymore, is the way I'm going to describe
I just have
it.
this image of like the person trying to fire it, just like you know, if you get the minimum amount of shots, like the absolute bare minimum of what you can get with the three rapid fire dice,
Yeah.
it's almost like they've just solved like two sides. It's just like, oh, gee, holy emperor, oh, okay. But then when they've done the whole thing, that's your 54 shots.
Yep.
That's your like, I've annihilated a city block. Why did you do that? Well, I was just solving the puzzle. Again, you rock up at a lucky six with one of these. People would want to tell you to put it on the shelf, but nobody would have any clue about that little box hanging off your hip.
They
It's
just
like,
see... Yes, that's exactly it. They just see some weirdo playing with his Rubik's Cube, going, yeah, whatever. You move it on, it just clicks, and I picture it opens up, and then, you know, there's these tiny little monofilament cables, and it maneuvers itself, and then it pulls itself back. And, yeah, these, you know, hundreds and hundreds of these tiny little needles are spinning around you, and they are just flying at your opponents. And, you know, then you're standing there in the middle of this room, everyone is dead, it comes back, and the colours have all moved.
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
just like, oh, damn it, I just had that. And
Just
you're doing
fix
it
that.
again?
Yeah, I can imagine the user is just like not really focusing on the needles and just like looks around and is just like, oh, there must have been a bar fight. Oh, the box protected me. That's what it was. 100%. Yeah.
That blind traitor told me that I'd be there for a great battle. You know,
Yeah.
I wish I'd
It's
known
like-
it was here. I would have come earlier.
True. It's like the Simpsons episode with the cursed monkey paw. That's what I see the UVAP puzzle box as. It's like,
Yep.
it's cursed. It's like, oh, okay. But like, it's fun, yeah? Yeah, it's fun. Like, you get to solve all the sides. Like, if you get all the pink side, the green side, the red side, the blue side, and then what's Malal? Malal's black and white. So it'd be a black side and a white side. You know, but it's cursed. And you'd be like, that's okay. But if you solve one side, you get a special blessing from a higher power. Ooh, but that's also a cursed blessing. You're like, do you know what? I'll take it. And it comes with a free frozen yogurt.
Ooh. It's pink berry. Yay!
Yeah.
It's neither pink nor does it have berries. Oh.
No, it's starch flavored frozen yogurt, and there's no yogurt. It's just starch.
I love this. It is. I think it is the most dangerous weapon in the entire game. I think it is absolutely insane. I love everything about it, and I would like one on literally every gang I ever play, ever, because it is ridiculous.
Well, I
It's
think it's more of a
ridiculous.
humorous weapon. I really do. Like, I could just see the person desperately trying to solve sides on it to make it worthwhile. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't see it as some sort of chic, unique sort of thing where they lift the lid and they point it at their enemy and they blast them with all these tiny shards. I think it more of this desperate, almost plea to the weapon to work. Like, please, stop. Just work, please. Stop flicking your sides, you know, like, actually work for me because I am going to die.
It's also only 150 credits. It's illegal 15, yes, but it is only 150 credits.
You know, you could build a campaign on this weapon.
Yeah, every
about
gang
trying
gets
to-
one.
Oh, wow.
Every gang gets one.
And maybe you have to bring them to a certain point, or maybe you have to use them at a certain point, and it's supposed to open up some ancient portal or some sort of alignment to the warp that brings forth some entity from it. Probably just a little, like, you know, maybe just a little nurgling or something, but who cares?
Yeah.
He still gets his own little way in there. Yeah, it's definitely this weapon is one. It's steeped in enough mystery that it's one that you could definitely have some campaign ideas around for sure. Yeah. All right, moving moving on to our next one. We've had like 3 crazy weapons. Now we're just going to bring it back down to reality a little bit, folks. With the Demiurge Energy Drill. This energy drill is more an alien mining tool than a true weapon. Though humans have found that at short ranges, these heavy lasers can be devastating. Bought from the void-faring Demiurge, usually through third parties such as squat prospectors or wasteland junkers. Some of these drills find their way into the Underhive. Drills are usually good at only for a few shots each battle, and then only up close, but there are a few things that they cannot cut through. So, we're talking about amazing puzzle boxes, neural flares, and necrotic beavers, undead, dead-making rods.
Yep.
And what do the squat bring to us? It's used for getting rocks, mate. We get rocks with it.
It's a laser drill.
Yeah. La-di-da. Wow.
They're not just normal squats, though. These are the Demiurge. These are the... this is the Leagues of Votan prospector fleet that joined the Tau and taught them ion technology. It's a fancy space laser drill.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. And, we were on some such incredible lore-based highs about what we're talking about. And now we get drill. Thank you, Scots.
Drill.
Thank you, Leagues of Votan. Thank you, Dwarves in general. Thank you for everything that you provide to us.
I made sure you were going to read this.
I'm just not impressed. We were talking about so much fun stuff, and then the dwarves coming along and like, "Oh, we made a hole in the ground." Oh, yep,
Just
good
like
one.
you.
I'm not a dwarf. It annoys me because the analogy works really well. Like,
Shorter than
yes, I
me.
mean,
You have beard. You dig hole. You like beer. Squat.
not squat. No, not squat. Not dwarf. Orc, maybe goblin, hopefully, but I'll take what I can. But I do agree with your analogy, works really well. Anyway, I'm derailing because I should show each weapon respect, but I have no respect for this weapon. It is a drill. Not even going to go through its stats. It drills stuff for sure, and it's got scarce, so like good for a couple of shots. There you go.
It also has impale. Impale is great. If you can get in front of them, you will shoot, and you can shoot through multiple people. You got to admit, even for laser drill, it's basically like a blazooga drill.
Oh, don't make it worse.
It's a blazooga drill.
Don't make it worse. And by the way, it's not pronounced impale, it's impale.
It's impale.
Impale.
And so yes, it's short range 3 inches, long range of 9, plus 2 accuracy at short, strength 7, AP -4. So it doesn't matter what armor you've got on, it's getting drilled. And damage 2, but yes, it is only ammo of 6+. So you're lucky if you're getting off one shot.
It's a drill.
It's a drill.
It's a drill. It's a man-portable drill. Well done, Squats.
A tiny man-portable drill.
Yeah, no. Look, I'm trying to be objective here. I'm trying to be treat each, thing, each weapon with the due amount of respect. But as soon as you bring the Squats into it, I'm just, keep it, mate. All right, do you want to move on to our next weapon?
One.
Yeah.
So the Demiurge Energy Drill was our only heavy weapon of this. Now, the only sort of dedicated close combat weapon is the Xenarch Death Arc. A relic of the Xenarch strain of the galactic northern rim, the Death Arc is a potent energy weapon. What makes it so effective is its cyclonic charge cells that generate prodigious amounts of energy and even replenish the weapon's stores as it unleashes a storm of electrical death upon the wielder's enemies. This is ridiculous. So it is. So the death arcs, according to the Inquisitor's rulebook, and then there's the Radical's Handbook from Dark Heresy, another fantastic role playing series that I think was done through Fantasy Flight Games.
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Death arcs are potent rifle-sized weapons that unleash a series of arcing bolts of lightning towards targets. If any of these bolts, which are deadly in their own right, strike the target, the death arc then channels a far more powerful arc of electricity along their path, blasting the victim to pieces. The weapon's charge cells and capacitors utilize technology far beyond anything the Adeptus Mechanicus can manufacture, making the weapons highly prized. And this is shown in the rules, in the fact that it is effectively like a maul, with obviously the shock and melee traits. It is versatile, so it's a short range of obviously close range, versatile range of 5 inches.
Pause there for a second.
Yeah.
Versatile of 5.
Because you're swinging and hitting them with the lightning bolts.
Yeah, but you're hitting them. They don't even know that you're there.
No,
like
you're two blokes behind.
Exactly. It's just like, what happened? What got me? Was it the drill? No, it couldn't have been the drill. It's right in front of me.
The drill. But it's +1 accuracy at short range.
Yep.
Strength 3, damage 1. It's ammo 2+, because remember, that bad boy's recharging.
Yeah, recharges. So every time you go whip it good, it just goes zoop, recharge that power cell. Yep.
And then on top of that, it's rapid fire 2+.
I will say that is a common theme across a lot of our Xenos weapons, isn't it? It's like, how do we make them more Xeno-like? Rapid fire. Let's throw them a whole bunch of rapid fire, But it makes sense because it's hitting with multiple electrical hits.
Yeah.
Do you know?
One
it's like zap, zap, zap.
And then it's just pop, 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 and it's focusing the stronger attacks on you. Like, it is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's an incredibly powerful
so
weapon.
Cool.
No, an incredibly powerful melee weapon. Sorry. If these stats were on a gun, you'd be very wildly disappointed. But for a melee weapon, it is just cocoa bananas. And the fact that it has shock is, again, another great display of rules matching the law. Because the shocks, when you hit with a 6, I believe it is, it auto wounds, right?
Yep.
So this represents that first bolt going slap straight into the system. Gotcha, found a weak point, and then everything else pumping straight through that pathway it's created and just giving it a proper zap. So all of those concerns about strength and armor saves and all that kind of stuff is all negated because you've got 2 rapid fire dice. So what are we saying here? Potentially like 6 hits from this.
Yep.
Yeah, 6 hits from this weapon. And now we're going to go actually delve into a bit of rules. I need to ask you a rules question.
Ooh,
right.
Go for it.
So if I've got 3 attacks on my profile using this, does that mean I roll the rapid fire dice, those 2 rapid fire dice 3 times, per hit that you make with the weapon?
So you don't have to roll both rapid fire dice all 3 times. You can roll 1 or you can roll 2. It just depends on whether you're going to have to roll the ammo dice. That being said, if you've only got the Xenarch Death Arc, I think you could then do your 3 attacks with this. So would you be doing 3 times 2 rapid fire dice?
That's what I'm thinking.
So let's say you roll 2s on all your rapid fire dice. So 6, 2. So wait, 3 attacks times 2. You're rolling 2 for each of them. So 3.
You're rolling
that's
6.
12.
Yeah.
You're possibly doing 12 because even if you hit an ammo roll, it's only 2+.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of hits. If you've got 3 attacks, you know what I mean?
Dude.
But
if you have
makes
3
sense.
attacks and you have that puzzle box, Are you putting it up to 160?
No, because it's a shooting weapon.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah. But this if it works that way, and like, please, audience, correct us. If it works that way, it really represents the weapon of just like, bam, 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 bam. Like it is an enforcer's wet dream. This thing, it's just like I could control so many mobs with just one swing of this weapon, and I don't even need to be on them, near them. I can just be in the back of my patrol vehicle, swing it over my head, 100 people knocked to the ground because I'm just driving through the crowd like shock staving left, right, and centre, but with a Xenos death arc. So it is the ideal. It's like a shock stave on steroids and speed all at the same time.
Yeah.
Drugs are bad, by the way.
Kind of.
No.
Sorry. Yes. No. Our official stance is, drugs and flavored milks are bad.
No,
Don't
flavored
do
milks are
them.
fine. It's the Liho sticks, Lilo sticks.
Lokers are jokers.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
okay.
this
See,
weapon.
this is sick.
This weapon, again, we'll give it the Lucky 6 test. You could definitely get this one in the bar. Oh, do you know I didn't do the Lucky 6 test for the... Yeah, I didn't do the Lucky 6 test for the drill. You definitely wouldn't get in the bar because they know it's squat tech. They kick you out.
They pick you up and they throw you in a barrel.
Yeah, they throw you out. Take your silly drill with you. Go mine some rocks over there. So, but this is the shock stave until it starts getting rowdy and you've maybe had one too many brewskis or one too many wild steaks. Sorry. And you decide, I'm going to rattle someone's skull with this, just show off. And boom,
The
whole
death
bar.
arc's only 75 credits and a legal 9. Oh, I'm gonna buy one at Arcramunda. Screw it.
You can try and get one.
I'm gonna try and get one.
Yeah, righto. Okay.
I'm gonna try and get one and a UVAth puzzle box and just be a whole sack of crap. Just be genuinely a bad person. So when I get that 4 times,
don't. I knew exactly
really
what you were gonna
look
do.
at me and be like, "You earned it, mate."
Anyway, back to our weapon and not your silly milk-based, sportsmanship-based conversation. This is a weapon that I think is just pure fun as well. Like with just because it's so much randomness in it. Do you know what I mean? Like you just go, look, and it's probably more than likely a very, very powerful weapon. But just from us looking at it here, from on the page, it looks like it could be just a little bit of fun. And I think it's definitely one of those weapons you would have to say to your opponent, like, hey, I could get completely messed up from this thing and it might be complete garbage, or we could have a lot of fun. You know what I mean? And try and take down this particular user of the weapon. But yeah, definitely one of those weapons that, you would be taking to... It's almost... You're taking it to just have fun with it in the game. You know what I mean? Like it has massive killing potential in it. But it just, I don't know, it seems a little bit more fun. Like the puzzle box is, I'm definitely going to destroy things. Whereas this is like, hopefully, I could destroy things. Yeah,
This is, if I hit you once and I keep hitting you, I'm going to have fun, and it's going to be weird that a weapon this powerful is this cheap to reload. Because it's also plentiful. You're going to reload it the next turn.
But you don't even reload it. It's recharging.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
It's got its own little... Like, if it fails, if you somehow roll a 1, like an absolute, like me, the next round you're just like, I reloaded.
I'll have another go. And plus I'm 5 inches away and you can't see me. All you know is you just keep getting zapped by something. Exactly. It's like you're caught in the worst bug trap ever. Oh. But anyway, we've got one last read. I really enjoy that weapon. It is certainly right up there. This one is not a close combat weapon or technically a shooting weapon. It is a Mind Flex shard, which is classified as a grenade. Thought to be fashioned from a fragment of Xenos crystal wisp, Mindflex shards steal the memories of those they cut. Enterprising assassins and spies have found many uses for these unusual weapons, though Underhive gangs too sometimes employ them to slip past sentries or to spread confusion amongst their enemies. So this is one of those weapons that it's more of a disruptive, more of a nuisance weapon. It does have a profile to hurt in the sense that it's strength 3, -1 AP, damage 1. Actually, that's pretty good stats for a grenade. And an ammo roll of 4+, which is pretty fantastic. Right. But it got the curse trait. It's one of those things that you get to roll on one of your stats that you barely roll on. Like, you know, the stats at the end of the stat line for your character. Like, you got call and all that. Like, I find I rarely ever roll on those. But you have to make a willpower check, and if you fail it, then you go insane.
But it's the best. It steals your memories, so you have no idea who you're fighting for or against. So you either run away, or your enemy is controlling the model.
Yeah.
And it's just... not enough things use insane. I love it. I think it's so dumb. Like, Mindflex shards, I think are so dumb. I love them. I want to use them. I'm actually going to try and buy Mindflex shards as well, and just somehow try and take control of my opponent's gangs.
Yeah,
I want,
alright.
I want everything that gives insanity.
Yeah. I think it's great too. Like, yeah, absolutely. Just, it's, again, another one of those fun weapons, in my opinion, because you hoof it out there, just see what happens.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, if you can get, what is it? It's strength, the standard sort of thing for grenades, where it's your strength multiplied by 3 to determine your distance, how far you can throw it and all that. But try and, like, pump that strength right up. You know, get to like strength 5, strength 6, and you're hurling this across a table at somebody you can't see, and suddenly they're just going cocoa bananas. They're like you know, one of them's licking the wall, the other one's running away from a rat, the other one's like punching on with a mirror. So it's just it's a great fun weapon to use. I think you just hoof it into your gang. And, I mean, you probably know more what its points costs are and all that kind of stuff. But I imagine it's probably on the cheaper side, because it is a grenade. It's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to get. It'll probably cost, like, 56 credits, whatever the case might be.
50 credits, illegal 10. Actually really cheap.
Yeah. So a load of fun. You get the big blast 5. But, we'll give it the lucky 6 test. You're definitely bringing this into the bar.
Yep.
You know?
It's under your vest. It is. You've got it hidden. No one's going to know you've got it there.
Yeah.
I think it's great, and it's really not that expensive. The only grenades equal to or more expensive than it are choke gas grenades, demo charges, melter bombs, plasma grenades.
For all effectiveness of those, and for how deadly we know those are, they don't seem quite as half as much fun as a Mindflex shard. Do you know what I mean? And this is it's thought to be fashioned from a fragment of Xeno crystal wisp. I think the understanding is that we need to get away from the fact that it's not actually a grenade. It's a shard. Yeah. It's a shard. It's this tiny little crystal that people wouldn't even understand what it is. You bring it out and they're just like, oh, what's he got there? He's got a rock.
Fancy rock.
Oh, g'day, fancy rock, Robbie. How are you? Boom, you're insane. Hold that for me.
Yeah, but that's it. I imagine that when you throw it, it's not exploding. It hits, it cracks open, and then the crystal itself erupts.
Yeah,
and then, you know, maybe there's a vapor or something that ruins your brain. Yeah. And next thing you know, you're seeing, like, rats offering you cheese, and you skedaddle. You're like, nope. Bye-bye.
I'm checking out.
Nope.
And I'm taking my body with me.
Did not sign up for any of this. See you later.
Absolutely. This is, again, I want to see you take this at Arkham Monday. It'll be fun.
Right.
I will try to get one. Actually, I've got infiltrators in my gang. This is a perfect thing for me.
Yep.
Grab it, 50 points, just throw it at somebody and just be like, good luck. If your insane trait happens to mean that you kill one of my gangers, well, so be it. You're insane, you didn't know what you're doing. How can I hold a grudge?
The Rak'Gol Razor Gun is only 60 credits.
Yes, you need to stop now.
Kroot long rifles are 30 credits.
Yeah, bargain basement.
Okay, so of all of the weapons, what was your favourite? No point asking. It's the laser drill.
100%. I'm retwerking my list so I can put a laser drill on everybody. Yep. It is just the best thing ever. No, for me, it's the Zen Arc Death Arc.
Yes.
Yep. And the only reason why is because it's got such a long range from where it engages. So you're like zapping people like from ages away. You know, I don't know, like you probably don't know this either, but what's the movement range of a squat? Like it would be like what? 4 inches. So can't even get to in the you're just getting tagged the whole time. It's like, stop, leave me alone. Let me just get close enough. Zap. Yeah, no, that is by far my favourite weapon. I've actually really enjoyed this series on all the Xenos weaponry because they're so like crazy. They're so off kilter. And what I love about them, other than the sling gun and the Kroot long rifle, these are weapons we don't normally see even in games of 40k. No. You know what I mean? These aren't things that you get to dabble with in a broader sense of an army or things that I have grown up with within this hobby. So they're all just a little bit off kilter. And, you know, there's probably similar things in the Xenos armies if you do play that rubbish. But it's not stuff that I've mainly used. You know what I mean? Or I've definitely come up against it, but not been that interested in it. So this has been very, like, a bit of an eye-opener for me as well. I'm like, oh, that sounds fun. That sounds cool. And again, I've reiterate the point I made so many times over this episode. Necromunda just offers you that extra level of detail and depth that you can do with these weapons to make them just that little bit extra fun. Do you know what I mean? You're not getting the 40k version of this weapon. You're not getting the absolute base element of how it has to work. You're getting something that they can go, you know, let's make people insane when you throw a grenade at them. Cracker. Abso-freaking-lutely. So I'll ask you the same question as well. What is your favourite weapon?
Death Arc.
Death Arc,
hands down. And like I want to build a whole gang around these Xenos weapons. Like I want to build those nomads you were talking about before.
Yeah.
I want to do basically like a bunch of guys who trade. Maybe so when the cold traders bring their stock down to Necromunda, maybe this nomad group are the ones that go back out to the wastes, pick up the weapons, and then deliver them to the black markets for the cold traders. You know, they're sort of saying for this delivery, we need a couple of weapons. You know, we need some. You know, people are trying to muscle in on our territory or whatever. So this cold trader gives them a couple of the Xenos weapons and that sort of thing. And yeah, the Death Arc, I can really see. Or maybe like a group of enforcers that have sort of said, and I think this was your idea a while back, of the enforcers crack open the captured stock and they're just going, you know, time to fight fire with fire.
Yeah. And yeah, they absolutely would. And they'd be like, ooh, nice, like, shock baton. But they would probably only think of it as a shock baton till the first time they swung it. And we're just like, uh-oh. Like, we've got ourselves a real prize-winning weapon with this one. So let's use it only in dire emergencies, sort of thing. But
or the sergeants, the bad zone enforcer sergeants, just like, I don't care. This shock baton is sick.
Yeah, you just see him disappearing off in the distance, just whipping people left, right, and centre. Just boom, boom, boom. I am having the most fun I've had in my entire time on Necromunda. But yeah, no, I've really enjoyed this episode. Hopefully we do another Open the Armories. Hopefully the wait isn't that long, but I guess for the wider audience, the wait is that long because we do have a lot of things that come up thanks to Games Workshop and all the releases we get regarding Necromunda. So
Yes.
hopefully we do get a bit of time to dabble in a few other things, because there is, even within this book alone, the Book of Judgment, you then have corrupted weapons, which is just it's a whole another level of it's the familiar with the right amount of chaos spice sprinkled on top of it. So
Yes.
yeah.
Perfect. Well, I actually do have a quote to end this one. And it's actually something I think you'll enjoy. Pepsi Max is my favourite drink.
You're just a fool.
Nathan the Manvent. I have a photo of you drinking Pepsi Max.
Go drink some flavoured milk.
No. I actually do have a quote for this one here, and it does, funnily enough, come from the Book of Judgment. And it is nice, easy, and to the point. Sure, it's illegal, but remember, it's only a crime if you get caught. And that's from Fortrum Tutos, the Archworks Black Marketeer. And that was our latest episode of the Underhive Lorekeepers podcast. I am Spamiel, and on behalf of the Lorekeeper team, thank you for listening. Please follow us on our social media pages available in the show notes, and don't forget to follow and review us on your preferred podcast platform. As always, if you have questions, complaints, corrections, or are interested in a low-cost brain-melting services from your local Delacroix, please reach out to us at the Underhive Lorekeepers at gmail.com. Thanks.